Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today we're going to do a Declutter Regrets. This time we're doing Juvia's Place. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today I'm going to be watching through a video with you that I did a couple of years ago with all of my Juvia's Place palettes. I was like, what is a brand of eyeshadow palettes that I haven't featured yet? That I used to own a lot by, but that I know I have decluttered quite a bit from. I can already see, looking at this overview, that so many of these I no longer have. And with the Juvia's Place palettes I do still have, there are definitely going to be some on the chopping block because I barely reach for them, but some of them have been such a staple in my makeup collection that part of me wants to keep them. So let's chat about these Juvia's Place palettes and why I decluttered them and whether I regret doing so, and which one of these I still have, and whether I think that 2025 is going to be the year I get rid of them or not. So this is quite a long video. It is 34 minutes in total, so I'm gonna skip through this quite quickly because I don't think we're gonna need that much time to talk about it. So let me find the first one. So I see I'm starting here at the bottom right corner, which is the violet. So I think I'm first going to do the small 6 pans that I have. So did I have so many of them? I don't remember. This is the violets. This is one. Do I still have it? I think I decluttered it. I think I decluttered this one. I think I still have one of these little 6-pan palettes. And these were good, but they didn't have the same quality as some of the older Juvia's Place products I had. So that's why I didn't use these a whole lot. I also felt like my two favorite shades were some of the purple shimmers in here. And they're very similar to some of the shimmers in the Magic and the Masquerade, which we'll see towards the end because it's a bigger palette. And those I actually depotted so I could keep them around, and then I felt I didn't need this anymore. So this was too similar to something from the brand I already owned, and the formula wasn't the same as the rest of my Juvia's Place palette, so that's why I ended up getting rid of this one, and I don't regret it one bit. The next palette we have here is the Nubian Royal. This is another purpley toned palette. I believe I kept one shade in this that I actually depotted together with the Masquerade and the Magic palette. I think it's the shimmer in the top left corner actually that I decided to keep for this. Why are we going off camera here? And this I didn't like at all. It had like the pressed glitter kind of thing in. The mattes in here didn't work quite well for me. And some of the purples were cool toned and others were warm toned. So I got rid of this pretty quickly after buying it. Yeah, I think I only kept the lighter purple in the top corner. That's the one I kept, and the rest I got rid of, and I don't regret it at all because this is not my color story. And then we have the taupes, the berries, and the mauves. Of these three, I know I still own the mauves, but the berries I did get rid of. This I didn't buy myself. It was actually gifted to me by one of my subscribers, and I never got it because this is just a little bit too deep for me. It has a really nice bright pink, but I have a bright pink like that in one of my Pat McGrath palettes, so I didn't really feel I needed it anymore. And there were some stunning shades in, and I was using it mainly together with the mauves, if I was using this at all, but this isn't really my kind of color story, so again, something I decluttered and that I really didn't regret decluttering. Next up is the taupes, and this is one I no longer have, which makes me a little bit sad because we all know I love a good taupe. Love me a taupe, and this had different undertones of taupe. Some of them were a bit more gray, some of them were a bit more brown, others were a bit more green. Some stunning shimmers, but this one I got rid of because I already own so many taupe eyeshadows. So compared to other taupe colors that I have in both my singles and in my palettes collection, this one was just a little bit forgotten in my makeup collection. So I didn't really feel I needed to keep this around, and to be quite fair, I haven't missed it ever since I decided to declutter this. So it's pretty and it's light, but because this didn't have the same quality as some of my other Juvia's Place palettes, this one wasn't super special. And then we do the final 6-pan here. This is the mauves. I still have it because it has a really pretty duochrome in that bottom row. My guess is that I'll probably take like an empty pan and repress that one shimmer and get rid of the rest of the palette. Again, I have so many mauve toned eyeshadow palettes. If I go for these rosy mauve tones, I'm gonna go for my Melt Cheese in Parties. I'm never going to reach for this. It's really pretty though, but I'm keeping it around for one shade. So this is one I have to declutter, and I need to keep that one shimmer around and make it part of my custom singles, like Z palette kind of situation. One that is definitely not gonna go is the Nomad from Juvia's, which is one of my favorite fall palettes. I use it again this year. That's how much I love it. It's great grungy greens with a pop of yellow. That's what this palette has to offer, and I just go back to it every time. It's such a good, there it is. This is such a good fall palette. It has amazing shades. Yes, it does have warmth, but I just really like that shimmer in the middle. I like that greenish brown shimmer that we get right next to it. The browns, the greens, the murkiness, so yummy. If I were to recreate this, I probably would have swapped one of the yellows out for something differently, because those I don't use much. But this is definitely one that's probably going to stay. Then I have the Zulu and the Warrior 3 from Juvia's Place here. I'm not sure which one I'm going to open first. I think the Zulu, I'm going to open both. And the Warrior 3, these are their rainbow palettes. The Warrior 3, I actually decolored really early on. I think I kept the blue and the gray that were in there. I think I put those, make those part of my singles collection. And the Zulu I got rid of altogether. I had so many rainbow palettes at some point, and I just realized that if I have one good one, I'm set. I have the Blend Bunny Surge. I have the September Rose Slush palette, which is also discontinued. But between those two, I can do any rainbow look I could possibly want. So these were indeed good declutters for me. Don't regret it one bit. And next up we have the Festival, which is the one on the left, and then the one on the right is the Saharan 2. And these are very difficult for me to declutter. I still have both of these in my collection. The Festival is a very out there color story, but it's really special because it does have crease shades that I can use, so I can definitely tone it down. And the Saharan 2 is one of my favorite warm tone palettes. It's warm tones with a pop of blue, and it has these really warm, spicy sort of looking shades. And the top row is pretty much all duochromes. So this one I feel is still special. So of the two, I'm thinking declutter the Festival, keep the Saharan 2. The Saharan 2 has also been discontinued for a long time. So I know for sure that that could be one that I could miss. And I have decluttered so many warm tone palettes over the years. But this is one I've kept around because I like the color story so much. And if I go for that warm tone with a pop of blue, this is one of my go-to palettes if I want to go for that look. Next up, we have the Douce and the Tribe. And here again, two palettes I still own till this day. The Douce has really lovely pastel colors. It's like Napoleon, I never know how to say that. But the ice cream with the layers, you know. And the Tribe is a really good, again, grungy color story with greens with some warm tones. Again, some duochromes in here. There's a really pretty neon shade. The Tribe was discontinued years ago. I used to own a palette that looked like it. It was by OPV. And it was this palette with some additional shades, I felt. So I decluttered that already. The Tribe, I don't know if I can do it. Part of me is like, you should, because you never reach for it. But I still think that color story is so incredible that I would probably want to keep it. The Douce, again, I don't have too many pastel shades in my makeup collection, which is why this gets to stay. And it's a lovely spring color story. I love some of the tones in here. That gray at the bottom is my favorite shade in the entire palette. So again, here I might do a bit of a depot where I take that gray shade out and I get rid of the rest, because I do feel I have some of these other shades in some of my other palettes. With the Tribe, I feel it's still very unique. With the Douce, I'm not too sure. So need to take decisions on that in 2025. Let me know what you would do, because I would love to know. And here is the final overlay of some of the palettes I used to own. I think, save for one, all of these are decluttered. So only the Saharan that you see at the bottom right corner is still in my makeup collection. I did switch one of the shades out. There is a peachy tone, like a rose gold peachy tone in the bottom row. It's the third shade from the left. And I took the red from the Afrique and put it in here to make it more warm toned. The Saharan is again a warm tone palette that I have kept around for years, but this is not something that I feel is wholly unique anymore. Maybe depot some of these and put them with my singles, but this is one I feel that I might just have to get rid of, even though it is such a good warm tone palette. But I think also the warm tone palettes need to be a little bit more curated, because if I have like 10 or 15 really good warm tone palettes in my collection, I think I'm happy, and I think I have like 40 plus warm tone palettes. So I really need to get rid of some of these again. And this is definitely a contender to just be decluttered. The Afrique I no longer have. I don't regret it one bit. The red at the bottom is the one that I put in the Saharan because I didn't have a lot of red shimmer shades at the time. I now have plenty, so I definitely don't need to keep it around for that. And this was lovely, but this was such a disorganized color story that it was difficult to get looks out of it. So I definitely don't regret decluttering this at all. Was it pretty? Yes, this is a very pretty palette. And this is some of the quality from Juvia's that I really enjoyed. It wasn't really my shades. The Nubian 2, this was, I think, one of the first things I ever bought from the brand. I've kept a couple of these shades as part of my singles. I think the green and also the blue shimmer may still be drifting around somewhere, or maybe I just decluttered the whole thing. I don't really remember. But this was one of their first palettes that they ever released. And that green has my heart. It's so pretty. I think I'm swatching it here as well. So, so pretty. But this again, I didn't use the entire palette. So that's why I ended up decluttering it, because I just wasn't using the whole thing. This is the Wahala 2, which is really pretty. But this I decluttered and I gave it away to a friend who was really getting into makeup at the time and wanted to try some more out there things. This was pretty, but it had some weird shades in. It did have a multi-chrome, if I remember correctly, but I also felt there were a lot of blue-green shades that pulled very identical on my skin. And then the neutrals we got in it were very warm-toned. So for me, there was a really big clash. I now have the Blend Bunny Longing, and I also own the Winter Wonderland from Cosmic Beauty. And those palettes kind of do for me what I wanted this to do, and this just didn't quite deliver. So I'm glad I was able to pass this on. I'm not missing it in my collection one bit. And now then the final two big ones. As I already mentioned, I took some shades out, and I still have a little ColourPop 9 pan with some of the shades from this and the Royal Nubian in, and that's how I keep them, because again, with these two palettes, the Masquerade is on the left, the Magic is on the right. Really, really pretty, but this was back when Juvia's Place were doing their really, really big pans. If you buy it now, I think these are still available. You get much smaller, more like coin-sized pans, and that's what I would have preferred these to be. With the Magic, I was mainly using the bottom two rows, the purple things, and like some of the blues, and the greens I really liked. With the Masquerade, it was the top two rows that I used mainly. Again, the purples, the blues, and some of those pink tones. So I think I kept, from the Masquerade, I kept the two purples at the top, and then from the Magic, I know I kept the shimmer purple and the matte right below it, and also that really pale shade on the end, and one or two of the green shades as well. Those I ended up keeping. So I still have a good chunk of these palettes. I can still use these shades, but this, having it as a 9 pan in like really small packaging, just makes it so much more manageable for me. And I've actually used this new 9 pan I created for myself, and it works much better than these ever did. So again, do not regret decluttering these at all. I wasn't using half of these palettes to begin with, and this is how I also feel with my makeup for 2025. There are just quite a few eyeshadow palettes that I don't really use a lot, so I just need to get rid of them. If I haven't, like, this is going to be the new sort of line that I'm going to set myself. If the palette that is up for a declutter is not something I've been wanting to reach for again in one of my palettes revisited videos, then I'm pretty safe that I just know I need to get rid of it. So if I haven't wanted to go back to it at some point, then I may as well just have to get rid of it at some point. So those were my Juvia's Place palettes. I had quite a few, as you could see. I have already cut it down significantly ever since I filmed this video. It was filmed back in 2021, so I think I cut it in half at least. And I definitely think I'm going to be keeping like 2 or 3 of these come my next declutter, and I'm going to get rid of quite a few of them because I'm just not reaching for these. They're a bit older in my collection as well. Pretty, yes, but not something I necessarily need to keep around forever. And I haven't regretted decluttering any of these, so my decisions are usually pretty solid with my declutters. So I think these are going to be some solid decisions again as well. Let me know in a comment down below what your favorite Juvia's Place palette hat is. Do you have any? Because I don't feel Juvia's Place is a brand lots of people talk about anymore. They pop up from time to time whenever they have a new product, but they're not as raved about as they used to be, I feel. I definitely feel that that's something that happens to a lot of like smaller brands. I don't know how small Juvia's Place is anymore, but they really started as an indie brand a couple of years ago, and with a lot of indie brands, it kind of goes in waves, I feel. Like some brands are really popular, and then something new pops up, and they do the newest hot thing, and then everybody goes for that brand. And I definitely feel that that has had an effect on how much the beauty community online talks about Juvia's Place. Are they still in Ulta? Because I remember the brand being sold at Ulta at some point. I know they were at Superdrug for a while as well, but I didn't see them in there the last time I was in England. So I don't know if they are still very widely available. The only place I can still get them is through their official website that used to be stocked on Beauty Bay. So I also feel that changes like that make it a little bit difficult for someone like me to buy them. So I haven't really bought from them since, I feel. But yeah, let me know what your favorite Juvia's Place palette is. I would love to know. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more by me. I will be back with a new video very, very soon, and I hope to see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.